Hey fellow bird nerds. So I wanted to do today, finally get some cool weather, freaking finally. So I wanted to show natural head. So I don't really have an opportunity to do this very often on ducks. Mainly it's just mergansers. So let me see where we're at. Mainly it's mergansers, which is fine, but it's I choose natural on that just because if you skin around, there's so much extra skin that just it's so hard to compress back to around the bill. A normal bill is going to have a lot of area for shrinkage, whereas merganser is pretty straight and stiff because it's a prolific fish eater. This is a beautiful, beautiful red-breasted, just awesome little spot feathers, big old woody woodpecker hair. So I just wanted to show, and then I got King over here also I'll be doing some stuff on. But so when I do a natural, same applies for grouse. Hold on, let me same applies for grouse and quail, all the kind of upland stuff. So what I do is just kind of get it straight so nothing's twisted. Kind of start in around the eyes, free the skin up, kind of get it working. It's a little bit harder on these because it's got such a long neck for a duck, but so I try to get it as kind of straight in there as possible. There's still a lot of corn cob and stuff, but so I'm just kind of pushing it up until I can kind of see the skull portion. Hopefully you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So you kind of just keep gently working it up in there. Then I'll get to where I can feel the skull part. I'll kind of grab on with my tweezers. Boom, pops right out. And then I'll kind of clean off, all the corn cob that's in there from the dill. Okay, so everything's already fleshed, of course. The reason I want to show this is because this is the same process for, like I said, for upland, for all kinds of stuff. Same concept. It all transfers over, and especially on mergansers, it's kind of like I said, just the artificial heads. It's so tough with trying to get that skin back and making it look decent. So just go in. And so all I'm pretty much doing here is because I'm going to use caulk for the throat and the back of the head junction. Got to make sure to get the back of the head. I'll do a video on that later. I just wanted to show how to turn it inside out. Also, when you're skinning these, once you get the body removed, and normally where you kind of work down the neck, that's when you just kind of keep going, and then you just continue down. So to be the opposite. So normally when you're skinning a bill, you'll get to the eyes, then the ear holes, and then go the other way around. You start with the ear holes, then the eye, and then you get as far down the bill as you can. And so kind of a reverse, but I know some people that even on mergansers and stuff, they do the artificial bill, which is fine too. If there's a special circumstance, like say another problem that happens with mergansers a lot is they're shot up really bad, and because they're so tough. And in that case, I'll use a artificial head. But so 9mm red for the red-breasted, and then like I said, I'm going to show basically up until I'm going to dry it. And then this is going to be a like sitting preening bird. So like I said, once I have them put together, I'll probably do a separate video just on the caulk, because it's like I said, it's the same principle. I'll probably end up doing some videos on some quail and some grouse or something, pheasants, on how I do the caulk and stuff like that. But same basic concept, a lot in the throat. Yeah, and I have this is like the best thing you can get, like a little dental syringe. This is just grease because it kind of gets dry over time. But I'll take the plunger out, fill it with caulk, and then put the plunger back in, make sure the tip is clear, and then I'll go through the ear hole, you know, back of the head, and then I'll open the mouth up, do the throat. So this little dental syringe is really, really worth its weight in gold. So just kind of getting the eyes basically pupil set, get all the top view so they're lined up, front view, get it so the pupils look nice and same angle and same direction, because you don't want a cross-eyed bird. Alright, so then once I have that, then I'll take this. I'll just get a little bit of borax. It'll kind of help on the reversal part. Just kind of rub it a little bit here on the skull. Like I said, it's not too much. Mainly just trying to set the eyes. Most of the actual shaping and stuff. Because if you do a natural head, you're going to have to do, you know, put your artificial. You're going to have to glue it on like a normal process. Do the clay and all that. This way, it's like with it being secured around the bill, and then the only really hole you have is the ear holes and eyes. Once you go back through there, especially with mergansers, eiders, scoters, a lot of some of the, you know, bigger diving birds, there's so much extra skin. So let's pull back through. It's pretty easy on these guys, no big deal. Some of the upland are a little bit tougher. So you just have to be really, really patient. Make sure you're grabbing certain areas, like try to distribute your weight as much as possible, so you're not ripping anything. Because once you get a rip in the head, and then you're pretty much, you know, I've done that with, you know, pheasants especially, because they have such a big old freaking head. You know, it'll start ripping when I'm trying to pull it through, and I just have to scrap it and just skin around the bill for that reason. So then, you know, now that we have this, we're going to be drying it, and we're going to be doing with the shop vac and all that good stuff. So I just want to get it, you know, and there's a lot of corn cob still kind of around the edges, but that'll all come out pretty soon. So I just want to get some pins in the back corner, front corner, and then on the bottom of the eyelid. Just that way when stuff starts moving around, like that's looking pretty good. Like I said, then back here, just going to get front corner, back corner. So like I said, I wanted to show this because mergansers are really the only time, and the only ones I really get. Occasional red-breasted and hooded merganser more commonly, but I figured this would be a good. He had a pellet hole right in his eyeball on this one, so I'll have to get that figured out later, probably once he's dry. But anyway, same thing here. Just get the pins. Like I said, that way once it's drying and you got all that stuff, you know, blowing, it'll still shift a little bit. But while you're drying, the reason I do it is because once you dry a little bit with a shop vac, it's not going to be as pliable then as it is right now. And if you can at least get most of the basic shape kind of squared away and kind of where you want it, then that way once it is a little bit drier and a little bit less pliable, you're not really having to move anything any large distances. So this one having the pellet hole there, I'll do another pin this lower part to pull that up. Like I said, once the borax is gone. So, and like I said, and I'll lay it like this as I'm drying it, or I'll lay it like this, try to keep it off the pins, but it also just kind of helps keep everything, you know, squared away. So anyway, well, I wanted to show that on inverting, doing the eyes, pulling it back through in the eyes, and then like I said, so when you do the caulk, I guess I can show it now actually, because so once I have a wire, where's it at? I have a wire. So normally I do the loop like in other videos. On natural heads, I use a long pointy wire. So when that goes up through, I'll go up through, through the skull. Make sure you kind of really help it get through the skin so it doesn't just you know, poof it out and distort it a lot. I'll have the wire up there, and then you know, get them in position, whatever I want. Generally what I'll first do is find the ear hole. See if I can get this. It's a lot easier once the bird's actually put together. But I'll find the ear hole, and then I'll work the needle. I'm trying to show you visually too. So get the ear hole, it's right here. Work it up in there, kind of go through the top, you know, and just kind of twist it around, because you can always press down and get it to, you know, smooth out your transition. Then once that's kind of good there, so go through each ear hole, because you don't want one side poofy and the other side not really. So even if it is a little poofy, you can push it down and work it so it's nice and even. There's no bulges. And it's raining, as you can hear. And then lastly, through the throat, I'll get normally a full syringe. I think these are like maybe 10 cc, I would guess. And then I'll go through, fill that completely up until it's, you know, almost starting to come out. Close it up. I'll just put a little strip of electrical tape, kind of cinch it up. And then, like I said, then you just start working the throat, working down the edges, get everything smooth and nice, smooth transitional lines. And then you're good to go. And then from there, you can just groom, you can, you know, taxi whatever you need to. And like I said, same thing for quail, grouse, pheasant. Pheasant's a little different, I have to get in that, but for most of the upland, it's the same process. And like I said, a little syringe, a little bit of, don't use silicone. That's my next big tip. Don't use silicone because it dries so quick. You will not have time to work with it. With the regular Alex white latex caulk, man, you'll have hours that you can, you know, move it around. It keeps the skin moist as well on the areas you put it as it's drying. So then that's another benefit, because then you have a little bit longer to kind of taxi the skin around the head and neck area and the throat, so you can make adjustments as needed. And anyway, it's just it's a big help. And like I said, this is just a beautiful beautiful Merganser, just awesome side pocket feathers, and of course the head. But anyway, so I want to show that and kind of how I do the caulk. I might try to do that later too. And then I'm going to do probably, these are both sitting, so I'm going to show wiring the king, sewing them up, the kind of more of the process with that. But I wanted to really show the natural head side of things, and that's pretty much it. All right, thanks guys.